So one of the cast members that I met on Warrior Island, his name's David Anthony Cazal. He's like a stuntman, actor, martial arts guy, but he's not a fighter. And he's got something going on that he's calling out Michael Bisping at the moment. But the ridiculous thing is he actually thinks he'd have a chance against Michael Bisping, who would absolutely destroy him. But listen, forget that. You can't fight a guy like Mike Bisping. You know, you have to earn that right. You know, like, and you earn that by establishing yourself in the world of combat sports, like I've tried to. You know, and many other fighters. And we find it disrespectful that a punk like yourself, you know, you're not a real fighter. You're a punk.
I think it's very important how we define fighter. I believe fighters are born and then they're forged through training, years of training, sometimes decades even. So just because somebody does a quote competitive fight, whether it's amateur or pro, in some aspect, okay, they could be a fighter because they fought. Now, obviously, a lot of people fight outside of competition, myself included. I think we've all gotten fights back in the day, just part of growing up as a man. A fighter, in my opinion, is somebody who will respond to the call of action when needed. So, for example, you could even ask one of my really good friends. This happened a little bit ago now in Ventura County. It's pretty fucking legendary. So, big-ass guy, way bigger than Michael Bisping, athletic. You could ask my friend what I did to him. Was in a club, long story short, I took him down, I subdued him until the bouncers came. And it was beautiful. So there was some beef escalating between him and my friend, but anyway, I handled that shit. That's a fight, you know? And that's what a fighter would do. And I didn't even have to bash his face in. Like, I could have literally turned him into hamburger meat, but I didn't need to. Plus there are legal repercussions. Anyway, when you say I'm not a fighter, I am not a professional fighter, but there are amateur and professional fighters that compete that I don't think are fighters. I don't think they have any business doing that. I think their records suck. I think that they don't have either the raw natural talent, the athleticism, the discipline, or just the heart where they're born a fighter. So I call myself a fighter. I'm just not a competitive fighter.
But the ridiculous thing is he actually thinks he'd have a chance against Michael Bisping.
I don't think I would just have a chance against Michael Bisping. I know I could beat him. And Jimmy, though, you should have learned something from Warrior Island. We should probably plug this because it's a pretty amazing experience, right? You guys get the comic books. Check out the website, warriorisland.com. Check out the Instagram, all linked in the description below. But there were two things you were sent to that island for, Jimmy. You had to learn respect and humility. And you guys need to watch the show, the miniseries, to see if Jimmy actually learns lessons. As far as Warrior Island, like in real life, I follow the Tiki Code. It's about humility and respect. And I will say, I will knock out Michael Bisping, and that is a very humble statement.
How do you know you're going to knock him out? How do you know? I'm just asking a question. How?
Oh.
You seen him?
I'll catch him, man. Like I said, all the power, I got power in my left, all the power's in that right. And I have a pretty good idea how I could catch him.
Oh,
but
you
again,
mean to tell me
having
you're
all
left?
that, we're not going to lay it out for him so he can't prepare. But I'm saying with all that defense, I just have to wait for the shot and strike because the defense is going to be impenetrable with the Philly shell.
You mean tell me your right hand's stronger than your left?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, shit. Brian, he hurt my shoulder with the left.
Yeah.
Is humble in the sense that I know what he can do. I respect him as a fighter, and I know exactly what I have to do and what I will do in order to beat him. As far as the training and the preparation and everything else goes, I don't think he would take it that serious, but he should. So when I say I'd knock him out, it's because I'm going to live like a monk. I'm going to eat, breathe, and live nothing but boxing with Tim Witherspoon.
I'm going to tell you something. These guys ain't going to be doing the stuff you do. And it's up to you to execute. That's all.
And he's got, the way he learned from you was amazing.
The left hook was enough.
A full boxing camp, and we're going to add the Frank Dukes component of Duke's Brew, and we're going to all find out together what, if anything, that can add. Because if anybody knows about Duke's Brew, it adds to an existing martial arts. It's like a turbocharger of sorts, so we're going to all find out together. And Michael Bisping, by the way, he's the one that told Frank Dukes to call him. So, because, you know, I know Frank Dukes. I said, let's call him. And we did. So he has the answer. Otherwise, he's a coward.
You can't fight a guy like Mike Bisping. You know, you have to earn that right, you know, like, and you earn that by establishing yourself in the world of combat sports, like I've tried to, you know, and many other fighters. And we find it disrespectful that a punk like yourself, you know, you're not a real fighter, you're a punk.
So I agree with the part of having to earn the right. I disagree having to do it the traditional route. There are a lot of better ways to do it. Look what the Paul brothers have done. So the way I'm going to earn the right is because I'm training with the right guys. Getting Frank Dukes involved adds to the story. Michael Bisping's the one that said, call him. We got to remember that. And I'm going to be training also with Tim Witherspoon as mentioned. So one reason I want to do this is because, say what you want about Frank Dukes, but in general, I don't think a lot of these guys from the older era get the respect they deserve. Like Tim Witherspoon, for example, if you watch his fight against Larry Holmes, his level of defense, nobody in the boxing game is doing that right now. And he's going to teach me that. So when I have all that and I got my natural power, you know, we're going to work on the combinations, going to work on the defense, like, I'll be an animal in the ring, man.
You are going to be all right if you do the right things. I'm going to make sure you don't get hit. I'm going to tighten that defense up.
Oh, yeah.
Block them jabs.
Sure.
Let them come out throwing all that their crazy, wild stuff. And you just relax and catch it all and catch them.
I mean, the defense will be impenetrable. To me, the fight, it's much bigger than me. It's kind of like taking these legends. We're going to find out, like, that Dukes, what he can add to somebody. And with Tim Witherspoon in boxing, in the world of boxing, I mean, people will probably be begging, like, oh, I got to train with Tim. I got to train with Tim. But it'll take a fight like me knocking out Michael Bisping for people to, like, wake up and say, yeah, while these guys are still here, man, they got so much to offer. So this fight is much bigger than me. And just manifesting something on that scale into reality, that is an accomplishment, and people will see something like that, and it'll be an example, and they'd want to, you know, manifest something big in their own lives. So it's much bigger than us, dude. It's a huge motivating factor. So look what the Paul brothers have done and the kind of fights they've gotten. You know, they didn't have to go up the ranks like a lot of people do. They found a much better way to do it. So with me, I'm establishing myself as a pretty big YouTube presence. Obviously, it's not on the equivalent of like the Jake Paul or Logan Paul channel, but you know, there's a presence there and it's growing. Movie-related things, some very cool projects, great stuff coming out next year, more stuff I'll be shooting and working on next year. So, like, I'm building a presence where there's going to be that curiosity factor. Plus, if anybody knows my background, man, like, I know I have a lot of raw natural talent, man. Like, my Kempo instructor begged me to fight back in the day when I was training with him, you know, because I catch on so quick and I have this natural athleticism that I further developed like any athlete has to. So the level of discipline, I haven't been out of shape since the 90s, since I started training. Very few people could say that. I'm not like some normal guy. You know, when I was in Taekwondo in the 90s, I was a yellow-green belt, sparring black belts, and actually beating them. And I'm not just trying to like create this legend. I'm saying I wasn't the guy going to Taekwondo doing, you know, 3 times a week for an hour. I was the guy training every day after school for 3 hours and then going to class on top of that. So, you know, it's different. It wasn't like a recreational thing. It was actually a lifestyle.
To call out Michael Bisping is disrespectful. You haven't even been in a fight in your life. What makes you think that you've got the opportunity to fight a real UFC champion, yeah?
I haven't been in a professional fight in my life, but yeah, there were plenty of fights. I think most guys have gotten into fights growing up. It's just the guy thing, right? And then there were some Taekwondo competitions, which these days nobody even counts as fighting. So, you know, if you talk about like a professional fight, sure, you got a point. But as far as like a fight, no. I mean, we've all been in fights, man.
And disrespect him like you have been. You've angered me. You've angered Jimmy Justice. I want to slap the shit out of you, David. I want to tell you that the name Viking Samurai is lame.
The name Viking Samurai is awesome, and that's why I am going to be in a future issue of Warrior Island as the Viking Samurai, which I also play that character on the miniseries in the upcoming feature film. Viking Samurai is a great name.
This is what I'm looking for. Look, it's the name, man.
And it's a better name than Jimmy Justice, man.
You got little hands. You're a Kazakh. Embrace your heritage, man. Call yourself the Kazakh samurai or something like that. But, you know, leave that Viking shit alone, man.
I'm not Kazakh, man. Some people think that. Like, I got Northern European blood, I got Viking blood in me, I got Japanese blood in me for the samurai component, though the Asian side is technically more Korean. But at the end of the day, I do have these bloodlines, man.
Because I will send you to Valhalla. Look at these, baby. These are Viking fists, you know what I mean? Viking fists coming for the Viking samurai. You want to fight? You want to fight against a man with a six-pack? That's me. I got 2 eyes and a six-pack, and I'm 40 years old, and I haven't fought for 7 years, and I'll bust you and Frank Dukes in the same night. What you gonna do, samurai? What you gonna do when Jimmy Justice is coming for you?
We need a bigger fight, man. I'll tell you, though, since you're like a UK guy, so is Michael Bisping. If Michael Bisping takes you under his wing and agrees and says, I will fight Viking Samurai if he beats Jimmy Justice, and then when I beat you, I get the Michael Bisping fight, then I'll do it. And I want the Michael Bisping fight because I want to call out Jake or Logan Paul right after. But it doesn't have to be Michael Bisping. Like, he put out the whole challenge of Frank Dukes. We responded. If he doesn't want to do the fight for whatever reason, you know, I know people say, oh, you know, he's got one eye. Well, shit, it's going to be Viking Samurai versus a Cyclops.
Sounds like a damn monster movie.
And it won't be the first time I face a Cyclops, because I fought a Cyclops on Warrior Island. You guys got to check out that show when it comes out, by the way. It's going to be amazing. But it doesn't have to be Michael Bisping if he's too scared. It's fine. We'll take a Chael Sonnen. We'll take a Mike Perry, which people think that's crazy. It's like, Mike Perry, he is a beast, man. And I watched that guy for years. And, like, when I watched him, I was always thinking, dude, if I ever got to fight that guy, that'd be some fireworks, man. So somebody like that would be incredible. So the challenge is out there for those guys, too. But it's got to be a name like that, because once I beat them, I want to call out one of the Paul brothers. You know, I'm not, like, all of a sudden starting a full career in life as a fighter, you know. But I want 3 fights, and they're going to be big fights. So the first opponent, if it's you, I have to have Michael Bisping for the second one. Otherwise, I want somebody equivalent to Michael Bisping, because I want one of the Paul brothers next, and then, you know, one more fight after that. So that's the whole plan and what I want to do. And again, the celebrity's only going to keep rising because I'm going to have all these movies come out, the YouTube channel keep growing out. So the name's going to be out there. But I need a fight against a big enough name, a skilled enough name, where it has to motivate me enough to devote myself to live, eat, breathe boxing, and live like a monk. So that's what I need to do, and that's what I will do, and I gotta manifest this big fight into a reality, man.
You are the architect of your own destiny. You are the master of your own fate. You are behind the wheel of your own life.
Just getting the fight alone is such an accomplishment, and when people see that happen, they're like, damn, I could probably do something amazing too. And yes, I believe we all can, and we should work towards that. And just in general, of course, people are, oh, you're never gonna get the fight, all that, you know. Well, I don't think like that. I look for ways to do it, not for reasons why it can't happen. Because there's always going to be a lot of critics and naysayers and doubters, but I take a page out of Aristotle's playbook. He says, you want to avoid criticism? Say nothing, do nothing, be nothing. That is not an option. I'm the Viking Samurai. With a name like that, I have to do legendary shit, and I will.